Well, I'm all the way up to July 7th. I'm getting caught up on the email, and I'm going to try to do this, as I mentioned, very regularly to keep up with your emails so you can get more prompt answers. And today, first up, is a letter from Pakistan. Wajid, I guess I'm going to pronounce that. He says he has a Windows Vista machine, wants to downgrade it to Windows XP, which I consider an upgrade. To me, I'm not real thrilled with Vista. I'm using it here. I need to learn it for my customers, but I'm not thrilled with it. He wants to make sure he maintains his data or does not lose his data. So the best thing you can do, Wajid, is to back up your data manually. You're not going to be able to do this through the process you need to go through to get to Windows XP. So go through, get all your documents, get your email settings, address books, anything that you need to keep that you cannot replace with the operating system. You need to back it up to another external drive or a DVD or CD drive, CD-ROM, and back that up. Keep it ahead, keep it behind you when you go through the downgrade, or again, as I say, upgrade process. As far as getting XP running on a Vista machine, it varies with all companies because it depends on whether you can find the drivers available for all of your parts and pieces in your computer, your video card, your Ethernet card, sound card, etc. So my suggestion is to go to the manufacturer of your computer, look at all the specs of your computer, and then look for Windows XP drivers for those individual components. Then you'll be able to go through and get everything installed with XP. Most of the time it works pretty well, but there are a few computers out there that don't have XP drivers for some of the parts. So make sure you check that out first. But thanks for your email. We appreciate you visiting the site and writing in. Judy writes in, and she's using Windows 98 and has no antivirus protection. Always kind of a gamble with Windows 98, maybe not quite as much. She does try to empty her temp folders, and she also says that she assumed that folders contained were also emptied, but I was wrong. When I delete those folders with their files, I'm told it is a system folder, may no longer. Is it okay to do that? As long as you're getting anything in a temporary folder, you're going to be able to, anything in a temporary folder should not be something you need. Unless you're purposely storing something in those folders, don't worry about it, Judy. Go ahead and empty them. As far as antivirus, you didn't ask about it. As far as antivirus goes for Windows 98, go to avast.com, avast.com, or of course our website helpmerick.com, and I have links to Avast because Avast still works quite well with Windows 98. The new version of AVG does not, however. Here's a question that we answered a few times already on the Rick Answers His Email series, and it's about Firefox 3 users who are still using Hotmail or some of the MSN email type services, and it doesn't work as good in Firefox 3. My quick advice is to go ahead and download what's called IE Tab, which will open up Internet Explorer 7 inside of Firefox, and then for those sites that it doesn't work so well, again, they're mostly Microsoft sites, you'll be able to use IE within Firefox. So give that a try, Mike. I think you'll find it works well. Joan writes in, she's using Windows XP and has some problems reading some drop-down menus on websites. Says that there's some kind of transparent printing on top with the actual printing underneath, and she can't quite view or use those menus in some situations. Says it happens on my site at helpmerick.com. Sounds like it's one of two things. Either your browser needs updating, or you might have a video resolution problem. Check your resolution of your video card, and you do that by right-clicking the desktop, go to Properties, under your Properties, go over to Advanced, and under those settings, make sure you're running a resolution of at least 1024 by 768. Anything smaller than that is going to cramp up the screens. But I got a feeling in your case, Joan, it's probably a browser issue. Make sure you're using newest versions of either Internet Explorer or, again, my favorite, Firefox. Willa is having problems getting onto her Pogo game site, and it seems to be Java related according to her message. So Willa, I think you can do one of two things. I think number one, if you're using Internet Explorer 7, go into the control panel, go into Internet Options, go into the Advanced tab of Internet Options and click Reset Internet Settings. That'll reset everything back to the way it was from the factory install of Internet Explorer 7. That may help. The other thing you might want to do in addition to that is go to java.com. That is the official website for the Java software. It's free. Download the Java software, reinstall it. Chances are you'll be back up and running in no time. But as I always mention, I would definitely try to get Firefox on your system and use it instead of Internet Explorer 7, I think you'll find you'll have less problems. Woo! We have another EEE PC user. I love my little EEE PC from ASUS. They don't like to call it the EEE, they like to call it the EPC. And she has the Linux version of the EPC. They make a Linux and a Windows XP. She'd like to use her BlackBerry Curve to be able to use it on the road and use the BlackBerry Curve as her modem, but she's finding out from Sprint that she can't do that with Linux. What I would caution you in doing with going, she wants to put XP on instead. You can do that, and you should have a little restore CD that came with the EEE PC that if something goes wrong, you can restore it back to the way it was. But if you don't mind doing a little bit more digging, at the eGuides website that you've gone to find the Windows XP directions, look around there to see if they have anything about using an external modem. The other place I'm going to send you is a website called I gotta find it here, euser.com, and it looks just like this. There it is, euser.com. It's probably the #1 site for going to learn information about the little ASUS EEE PC. And if you click here on the forums, you're going to find lots of great information, and post a question there about your situation with your BlackBerry Curve, who is your provider, it sounds like it is Sprint, etc. And you should be able to get that up and running potentially with the help of those folks. If you do need to go to Windows XP, it's probably something you can try. The directions, they also have directions here in their what's called their wiki. Go over a little bit more to the right. You can see this link here for wiki, and a wiki is a how-to section of a website. And try this out, and you might be able to get it going with your Linux, which I prefer over XP because of the fact you don't have to worry about little antivirus programs and anti-spyware programs on the EPC. So give that a shot, and I'm glad you're using the EPC. Robert writes in that he is using Gmail and wants to make a Gmail icon on his desktop, and you can do that very easily by going to gmail.com, Robert, and then once you're at gmail.com, you're going to grab the little icon next to the address bar on your browser. Make sure your window is a little less than maximum. Grab the little icon on your browser, next to the address bar on your browser, and just drag it out to the desktop, and that'll make a shortcut to whatever site you're currently on, and then you will have your Gmail shortcut. Thomas is running into a glitch trying to export his Outlook Express address book into Gmail. That just happens to be something that does not work in Outlook Express. He must have multiple folders in his address book in Outlook Express, and when he exports it to the comma-separated value format, which allows him to import it into Gmail, he's only getting the first page, the main identity contacts, and that's all you can export out of Outlook Express. Unfortunately, Thomas, what you need to do is move all those people back into the main identity in order to export them out. And then once you get them into Gmail, once you get those addresses back into Gmail, you can then resort them and assign them to the groups that you had them in Outlook Express. But you're just running into a little wall that there is no fix for in Outlook Express. It only exports the main identity, doesn't get those little subfolders. So good luck. I think we'll wrap up today's email with Jim from Hotchkiss, and Jim has just installed Office Suite 2007, another amazing package. I say that with a lot of my tongue firmly into my cheek. And he found that he has a CTF-MON, is what I call it, CTF-MON, in his startup. And when he went to one of the pages we have linked up on checking what's going on in your startup, he thought that it might have something related to a virus. It's not a virus. In your case, Jim, the CTF-MON is a Microsoft Office related program, and it's been around since I think Office 2003 or maybe even 2002. It's some kind of a little background program that runs when you start up in some cases, or if you just start Word or Excel, then it starts up and stays running until you reboot your computer. You can uncheck it and not have it start automatically, but it is not a virus. If you have good virus protection on your system and that particular file was infected, it would have told you. But it itself is not a virus and does not indicate that you have a virus. So good luck with Office 2007, and thanks for writing, and I'll be back with another episode of Rick Reads His Email very soon.